What's worse, a hangnail, stepping on a Lego, or influencer culture?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Lift off and the clock has started.
Yeah, most of those are varying degrees of irritating, but one of them is, well, it's counterfeit reality and it's masquerading as information while being bundled neatly inside of a psychological disorder. Influence. Influence is what pirates and thieves and snakes peddle in government to steal public resources for their own benefit. But hey, I digress. Good day to each and every one of you bright shining souls wherever you are, and welcome to balanceFIT Radio. Conversations on strength, meaning, and the human experience. I'm your host, Scott Schroeder, always flesh and blood and made of human DNA. Never AI generated. This voice will never be AI generated. That is a disservice to humanity, is it not? And this right here is a small slice of the communication landscape where fitness meets psychology, philosophy, and real life, because true wellness, well, it's about more than just the body now, isn't it? It's about living in balance. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Let's get into it. If you've been breathing for the past 5 years or so, you are keenly aware of the phenomenon known as the influencer. You can't go to a restaurant or a national park or the stinking bathroom anymore without some yahoo disturbing the peace, making duck lips at a camera and desperately trying to convince themselves and everyone else that their life is better than yours. And nestled comfortably inside this Mephistophelian zeitgeist of inauthentic self-worship is the subculture of the fitness influencer. Now, let me be unambiguous about what I'm getting at here before we go any further. The glorious blessing of free speech and available technology to put ideas into the universe cannot be understated, because right here, right now, in spite of all the fabricated narrative oozing from our screens, we are living in miraculous times. We exist in a resource-rich environment, the likes of which previous generations only read about in science fiction. I grew up watching Knight Rider, with Kit, a talking self-driving Trans Am, which was outlandishly rad. Now, talking self-driving cars, well, that's just traffic. The freedom and ability for anyone anywhere to communicate their ideas to the world is a phenomenon worthy of the company of the greatest advances in human history. Now, with that comes great responsibility. Be careful and be thoughtful with it. Here's the point. You can create content or you can provide a service. The two most important resources to humanity are time and knowledge, and one of them is non-renewable and brutally finite because of, death. And the other is the accumulated source code of epistemological and metaphysical advancement built across the entirety of human history. And today, the sum total of that knowledge lives in the palm of your hand. So what are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? We are building pedestals of false pretenses. We're tearing down other people so that we may stand just a little bit taller. And we're doing both because we've been taught through the degradation of generational responsibility that self-validation is the most important thing in the world. And from this distorted set point, we get the influencer. Now, to be fair, most influencers are relatively harmless, just kind of like, overgrown toddlers looking for attention. They want to be seen, they want to be heard. And maybe they're searching for respect or maybe adoration, maybe a little meaning, but frankly, they're chasing validation from an external locus of control we call social media. But the fitness influencer, this is where it gets a little dicier. Because now we're not just talking about aesthetics. We're talking about bodies. We're talking about health. We're talking about confidence and identity. We're talking about people, not mimetic expressions bereft of soul and agency, not fodder for the algorithm. People. And right now, all of our screens are flooded with an endless stream of videos featuring gym bros and some women of unknown training, unknown education, and unknown certifications telling you that whatever you're doing it wrong. Wrong. In fact, they're screaming it at you. And that's the moment you need to stop scrolling and ask yourself a very simple question. Wrong for whom? Wrong for a 22-year-old with unlimited time, no injuries, and the metabolism that laughs in the face of biology. Wrong for somebody whose full-time job is, staring at their own reflection under perfect lighting. Wrong for someone selling you something. Yeah, that's the pervasive one. If something doesn't make sense, follow the money. But here's the truth that never gets clicks. Fitness is contextual. Your body is not my body, I hope. Your injuries, once again, I hope, are not my injuries. Your schedule is not my schedule. Your nervous system is not my nervous system, and your goals are not my goals. And yet, in influencer culture, everything is flattened into certainty. You're doing it wrong. You're wasting your time. This exercise is trash. That's one that gets me every time. Everything in our culture now is either like championship or trash, best or trash. There's no nuance anymore. And if you don't do this way, you'll never make progress. That's a good one too. That's not coaching. That is attention-seeking behavior. There's a massive difference between being helpful and being performative. Too much performance, too much inauthenticity, too much performance in this culture these days. Helpful people ask questions. Helpful people assess context. Helpful people understand trade-offs. Performative people, well, they chase outrage. They need contrast and conflict. They need you to feel inadequate because your insecurity is their currency. Now, here's an uncomfortable truth that no influencer wants to say out loud. If fitness influencers were actually all about helping people, most content would be exceedingly boring. It would sound something like, well, what do you think? Well, I don't know. Hey, that depends. Let's look at your history. Here's what matters for you. Consistency beats novelty. Pain is a signal, not a challenge. And you're allowed to go slower. Things like that. None of that goes viral. So instead, we get absolutism. And absolutism is poison to both the body and mind. And I urge you, know yourself, know your purpose. If your goal is longevity, why are you training like a championship athlete? If your goal is mental health, why are you punishing your body? If your goal is presence for your family, why are you exhausted, injured, and irritable all the time? Context matters. And let me say this clearly because someone needs to hear it today. You are probably, most definitely, very likely not doing it wrong. You may be doing something imperfectly. You may be doing something inefficiently. You may be doing something that could be refined. We're all in that space. But imperfect consistency beats perfect paralysis every single time. Now let's talk about influencer motives because motives matter. If money is your primary objective, your life will be a disaster. If validation is your fuel, you will never have enough. If fame is the thing you're chasing, I strongly suggest deep self-examination because chasing applause to fill unresolved gaps in your personal gestalt will never end well. But if you reset your principles, if you orient yourself towards service, if you put real value into the world through teaching, listening, and helping, those rewards, the rewards you seek, you don't have to seek them anymore. They have a strange way of finding you. And here's the quiet irony of influencer culture. The people who actually know what they're doing are the least likely to push an all caps headline that says, "You're doing it wrong." So to those seeking help, let me offer you this as a grounding truth from someone who lives in this space every day. Move your body, strengthen it reasonably, challenge it intelligently, respect your limitations, be consistent, and recover like it matters, because it does matter. You don't need permission from a stranger on the internet. You don't need to chase novelty. You don't need to perform your fitness. You need to live in your body, not audition it. And remember this, fitness is not a moral hierarchy. It is a personal practice. And no algorithm gets to tell you whether you're worthy of the effort. All right, thanks for spending some time with me today on BalanceFIT Radio. If this conversation resonated with you, please Share it out there. Share it out to someone who might need it. Now, until next time, keep moving, keep thinking, keep exploring. And remember, your life, your potential. Peace out, homies, and I'll see y'all next time.